What up, all my fight fans? So, UFC 293 is just around the corner. It is this Saturday. We got ourselves Israel Izzy Adesanya taking on Sean Strickland for the middleweight championship of the world. First off, we all know the realistic reason why this fight is being made. And it's actually for a couple of reasons. One of the reasons, just so happens to be, is that Izzy had really already went through the whole division. I mean, Izzy has literally went through everybody and some of them twice over. And then, of course, he was scheduled to fight Dracula's Duplessis, DDP in other words, but it turns out he ended up having some type of injury in that Robert Whittaker fight and pulled out of the fight, or wasn't able to make this fight happen with Izzy this close. Because we know he had a fight with Robert Whittaker back in July. It was in the beginning of July, I believe. And yeah, he just was not able to fulfill those wishes for the UFC. So they needed some type of replacement. Well, we know that Sean Strickland had a fight a little after the International Fight pay-per-view and ended up getting a win. I believe it was a bus. I'm drawing a blank on the last name, but I think it was some up-and-coming contender in the middleweight division, which Sean Strickland had a very impressive performance in, and which earned him a so-called title shot. And I want to say so-called because we know Sean Strickland. He is a very tough competitor, but he doesn't have the biggest resume in the middleweight division. You know, he has a few wins, guys like Jacker Manson, but he also has a few losses, guys like Alex Pereira and Jerry Cannonier. So he hasn't necessarily beaten a lot of the upper echelon in the middleweight division. So we can't necessarily say he's necessarily earned it by beating the top guys. Like I said, due to the facts that, we know that the fact is he did go through the middleweight division twice over in some cases, and there really is no notable contenders available at this time. And he was scheduled to fight DDP, and DDP cannot make the fight. So, best thing we got right now is Sean Strickland. And at the end of the day, guys, it still is a fun fight. It's not something that's going to be crazy, like a big blockbuster, like something that we're really anticipating. But I still very strongly believe it's going to be a fun fight. So about the fight, well, these guys are both stand-up guys. We know Izzy. He is well known for his kickboxing. He's had plenty of kickboxing fights over his career, and that's what he mostly specializes in. So we do feel like this is going to be more of a stand-up war. Sean Strickland, he has some grappling, but again, majority of his fights do with stand-up. He likes to do that Philly shell where he keeps it. Usually, most time, I want to say 90% of the time, that's usually a boxing defense. It doesn't necessarily work in the MMA world, but for some reason, Sean Strickland was able to make it work. But it's going to be really tricky because he was able to do that to some of the lower end of the middleweight division. We got Israel Adesanya, who is the top of the top middleweight division. So we got to see if he's able to handle that. But the way Sean Strickland is going to have to do, or what he's going to have to do to win this fight, he's going to have to pressure Izzy. He's going to have to look at that Kelvin Gastelum fight. Kelvin Gastelum, he did not wait around. He did not, try to counter Izzy. He put the pressure on him. He moved forward. He didn't necessarily respect Israel Adesanya's power. Israel Adesanya does got power. We've seen what he was able to do, guys like Paulo Costa and Alex Pereira and whatnot, and of course Robert Whittaker. But Kevin Gastelum was able to handle some of those power shots and able to push forward and make it very uncomfortable. Israel Adesanya is so much better when you take it slow, when you go piece by piece, when you're going little by little punch here, little kick here. When you do like that, that's his favorite. To me, I personally feel like Israel Adesanya is almost like that Roy Jones of the MMA world. Roy Jones was really fantastic when you had him in the middle of the ring and you weren't going all crazy. You weren't putting too much pressure on him. You weren't moving forward and unloading with combinations. When you were just hesitating, when you were just standing still, when you were thinking too much, Roy Jones was able to pick you apart, go to the body, go to the head, use some of those hooks, use that speed and that power. And I feel like Israel Adesanya is just that person. He's able to do that. He's able to use some of his kicks, make it uncomfortable to you. Use those lightning speed, fast hands that he has, make it uncomfortable for you. He does have some takedown defense. He has actually really good takedown defense. Went against Yoel Romero, Olympic gold medalist or a silver medalist, I believe. One of probably the best wrestlers in the MMA world, and he was able to stop that. Again, Marvin Vettori, who made it into a very intense grappling match, he was able to stop that. Of course, we already know what happened to Jan Blachowicz, but let's face facts. Jan Blachowicz is definitely a much more caliber, a much more higher caliber, I should say, wrestler than Sean Strickland. And of course, bigger. I mean, look at the size difference. Very, very much different. So, yes, that's something that Sean Strickland is going to have to do. Sean Strickland, he knows the odds are against him. Sean Strickland has everything to win and nothing to lose. So he cannot play it safe. He cannot stand on the outside. He cannot wait for the perfect opportunity, because you're not going to get that perfect opportunity with Israel Adesanya. Israel Adesanya is going to use a lot of his great footwork that he has. He's going to use those great kicks. He's going to use that great jab that he has and use some of those power shots, and they're going to wait for you to come in, because he's a great counter striker in that sense. He's a great fighter that is really good when he backs up. Moving forward, a little bit different, still great, but really great when he backs up. Like I said, he's a really, really good counter striker. So, yes, I am saying Sean Strickland has to move forward so Izzy can counter him, but he still has to make it very uncomfortable. He has to try to get it to the cage, and unload some of those shots. Try to not get suckered in like the way Alex Pereira did. Israel Adesanya played it possum, and as Alex Pereira was unloading shots, Israel Adesanya pretty much came back with a really good counter and was able to knock out Alex Pereira back in April and get that middleweight strap back. So, yes, Sean Strickland is going to have to be very careful. Sean Strickland is going to have to be very, very crucial when it comes to moving him forward, but he still is going to have to take that chance and move forward. He cannot be the counterpuncher, because Israel Adesanya is definitely much more better at countering. Much more better. So he is going to have to put in that pressure. He's going to have to try to get it to the cage. He's going to try to attempt a few takedowns if he could. It's very difficult because, again, Israel Adesanya went against a lot of higher caliber grapplers. As for Izzy, with the odds, it really looks like on paper 99.9% that Israel Adesanya should do anything he wants to do and win this fight. But again, this is MMA, guys. This is MMA, and anything can happen. We've seen what happened with Juliana Pena and Amanda Nunes Part 1. We've seen what happened with Luke Rockhold and Michael Bisping Part 2. We've seen what happened with George St. Pierre and Matt Serra Part 1. It has happened. Hell, this could even be a possibility that this could even be Anderson Silva versus Chris Weidman 1 or even 2, where maybe Israel Adesanya gets a little too confident and gets knocked out, or maybe something happens, unfortunate leg break, which I pray to God does not happen, but it's a possibility. What I'm trying to say is, if you don't go in there focused, if you take someone lightly, it can very much happen where you could get knocked out, you could get stopped. That's just the name of the game. It doesn't matter how strong you think your chin is. It doesn't matter how invincible you think you are. Nobody's invincible to a power punch. Anybody can knock out anybody any day of the week. Doesn't matter. If you let your hands down, and if you do not block it, and if you do feel like your chin is just that strong or that powerful, and you want to test that theory, I promise you, you're going to lose. You're going to get knocked out, and you're going to lose that middleweight championship of the world. But I do not believe that is in Israel Adesanya's character. I do not believe that's in his vocabulary. I do feel like he is always focused, always prepared, and he doesn't take Sean Strickland lightly. I don't think he's ever taken any opponent lightly. But you never know. You never know. Day of the fight, sometimes it's not even just about taking it lightly. Sometimes you might be not feeling it. Sometimes you might not be in the zone. Sometimes you're just having a night off. Sometimes you just can't get off. You can't be able to let your punches go, or you let your kicks go. There's just something wrong. You never know. You never know. So, of course, on paper, the odds are in Izzy's favor. On paper, he should be able to win this fight with ease. On paper, he should be able to knock out Sean Strickland without any trouble. But you never want to just leave it like that. You never want to be like, hey, I got this. I'm not going to even train. I'm not going to even focus. This is a walk in the park for me. Never want to do that. But Israel Adesanya should be able to win this fight. He should be able to use that striking power, that brilliant striking power that he's been able to pretty much have in his arsenal all these years from his years of kickboxing. He should be able to pretty much outbox Sean Strickland. He should be able to outstrike Sean Strickland. He should be able to outkick Sean Strickland. He should be even able to take Sean Strickland down if he really, really wanted to, and if that's something he's been able to do, work on his grappling skills, because we know that's a little bit more of a weakness for Israel Adesanya. The last time we seen him really, really struggle with the grappling was against Jan Blachowicz. So who knows? Maybe he's actually going to surprise us, and maybe he's been working on that. So it remains to be seen, guys. It is UFC 293. It is this Saturday. Tune in, guys. I believe it starts at the regular time. It is all the way in Australia, so it's going to be a different time for them, but it starts regular time for us. I'm very much looking forward to this fight. I'm actually very much looking forward to the press conference, because you already know Sean Strickland is going to come in with that fire, and we're going to hear that trash talk 100%. So it's going to be very entertaining, guys. So, guys, let me know who you think is going to win. Let me know how you think that person is going to win, and let me know what you think the fight is going to be. Is it going to be a great fight? Is it going to be a boring fight? Is it going to be a quick fight? Never know. So, like, subscribe, hit that notification button, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video.